Why, hello there, I'm Professor Joel, and welcome to another episode of Planet Scooby Reviews. Today we are covering A Gaggle of Galloping Ghosts, which is episode 11 of season 1 of Scooby Doo, Where Are You? And this episode originally aired on November 22nd, 1969. The gang visit a haunted castle, I would say, in this episode. It's a castle that was transferred brick by brick from Transylvania. Transylvania is known for the historic birthplace of Dracula. That's where Dracula lived. But in this episode, Daphne fears werewolves more than Dracula in this episode. Also, this episode is the first one where the villain says, "And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those blasted kids and their dog." So that's rather historic, although I think over the decades, meddling kids is the more famous line. This episode is also fondly remembered for containing Frankenstein monster, Dracula, and the Wolfman, although it isn't the classic universal characters in and of itself. They never say Dracula in this episode. They just have a villain that looks very Dracula-esque, or a monster that looks like Frankenstein's monster. In my review, I might just refer to them as Dracula or Frankenstein's monster, but they're not really technically those characters. Anyway, does this episode hold up? Enough of my jibber jabber. Let's find out. The episode begins with a creepy moonlight shot of a castle. Up above on a turret, we see a wolfman snarling at the Mystery Machine as it drives by. Inside the Mystery Machine, Freddy remarks that they've come across Frankencastle. It's the only castle that has ever been imported stone by stone from Transylvania.
Frankencastle. It's the only castle ever imported stone by stone from Transylvania.
Remember those stories about werewolves living in Transylvania?
Velma is pretty excited to see the castle, but Daphne is hesitant as she's worried about the stories of werewolves living in Transylvania. Parked nearby is a fortune teller's wagon, so the gang enter. Inside they meet an elderly woman who reads them their fortunes. The fortune reveals great danger as long as they stay in the nearby vicinity from the world of the dead.
Evil forces from the world of the dead.
The fortune teller warns them to stay away from Frankencastle and that even the caretaker has abandoned the building.
The caretaker ran away in fear today. You will meet your doom if you go there.
Ignoring her advice, they drive to the castle anyway, only to find the drawbridge raised. The gang get out and the drawbridge lowers, so they start to walk across the bridge. A Dracula-esque man greets them near the front door and tells them to turn around or else they may not see the sunrise. Velma exclaims that they have permission to visit and the man says nothing more but transforms into a bat.
Go! This is your last warning. You are not welcome in the castle. Abandon all hope of seeing the sun again.
We have permission to visit this castle.
The gang run away from the bat and the drawbridge rises. Unfortunately, Daphne is a slow runner and ends up trapped inside the castle. A Frankenstein-like monster walks towards her and chases her around the moat. Freddy has Scooby and Shaggy swing across the moat to lower the drawbridge. Shaggy is also able to remove the holding bar to lower the bridge, but our cowardly duo are chased into the castle where Shaggy uses his ventriloquism to confuse the Wolfman. Freddy and Velma walk about the castle and come across a fireplace with a warm fire burning in it. Above the fireplace is a balcony where the Dracula figure emerges and taunts them before once again transforming into a bat.
Now your spirits will dwell here in this house forever.
The bat swoops at them and Velma loses her glasses.
Hey, my glasses!
Searching for them, Velma crawls into a trapdoor, leaving Freddy behind to wonder where she vanished to. Shaggy and Scooby end up in the castle kitchen and search for food. There's nothing of interest, only yucky snacks like pickled vampire wings, werewolf snacks, and fried moonbeams. Still hungry, Scooby opens the pantry and comes face to face with Frankenstein's monster. A small chase ensues and the pair escape after blinding the monster with flour. Velma has worse luck as she stumbles into the castle torture chamber, which is chock full of torture devices. Still blinded, she mistakes it for for a castle playroom. Hearing a noise, she runs away and hides in a barrel. The noise turns out to be Shaggy and Scooby falling down a trap door. Scooby finds Velma after he smells a Scooby snack, and Shaggy hands Velma her extra pair of glasses as he keeps a spare set in his pocket. The trio also find Daphne, who is stuck in the dungeon, which they can see through a grate in the floor of the torture room.
What happened?
Hey, what happened?
A weird man chased me into this room and locked the door.
As Daphne explains what had happened, an Iron Maiden sitting in the torture room opens up and Dracula emerges. Shaggy fishes Daphne out of the dungeon while Scooby fends off the Dracula figure. The four of them lock Dracula in the dungeon and escape the torture chamber by running out of the exit that has opened up in the Iron Maiden. The four of them walk through a dark tunnel but are separated, leaving Daphne and Velma wondering how they lost Scooby and Shaggy. Velma and Daphne do, however, find Freddy. Daphne shows Freddy and Velma a clue she found that was written in 1668 on the dungeon wall. It is a message that says, "I have fooled them all. I may perish, but I'll be as rich as King Tut."
I wrote down a message written on the dungeon wall in 1668. It says, "I have fooled them all. I may perish, but I'll be as rich as King Tut."
Velma states that King Tut was an Egyptian and Egyptians had their wealth buried with them. So Freddy decides that they should pay a little visit to the crypt after they find Scooby and Shaggy. Shaggy and Scooby end up in a mad scientist rumpus room,
It's a mad scientist rumpus room.
which is full of chemistry experiments and Tesla-esque electronic gadgets. Fooling around with all the toys, they eventually come across Frankenstein's monster and evade him on a gurney. The gang finally reunite and head down to the Franken family crypt.
A crypt is a tomb where you bury people.
One of the crypts has the year 1668 chiseled in it. Freddy and Shaggy roll the stone lid back, and inside they find the vampire. The vampire chases Freddy, Daphne, and Velma out of the family crypt while Shaggy and Scooby stay inside and create a trap using a tapestry. The trap is unsuccessful, and the vampire escapes wearing the tapestry through the concrete crypt. Freddy removes the concrete cover once more to find a ruby, a diamond, and a golden earring inside.
A ruby, a diamond, and a gold earring.
Scooby also finds a torn piece of tapestry that has pearls and rubies sewn on it. And Velma realizes that the Franken jewels that the vampire was looking for were sewn inside the tapestry. With the tapestry now gone, Freddy figures out the fortune teller was disguised as the vampire due to the golden earring they found in the crypt. Paying the fortune teller one last visit, they confront her, only for her to run out of the wooden wagon with the tapestry. Scooby chases after the fortune teller just in time for the police to arrive and arrest him. The police states that the man is Big Bob Oakley, whose alias is the Actor.
Why, it's Big Bob Oakley, alias the Actor. He's a master at disguises and wanted in 7 states.
A master of disguise who is wanted in 7 states. He was after the jewels, which he would have never have found if Scooby and Shaggy did not try to trap him with the tapestry.
Yes, might have gotten away with it too. If it wasn't for these blasted kids and their dog.
With another mystery solved, the gang enjoy a midnight picnic in front of the creepy castle where a stuffed bat on a wire swoops down and scares them. This explains how Oakley was able to transform into a bat. I give this episode an 8 out of 10. I like this episode quite a bit, so 8 out of 10 is a strong rating. And I thought Frankencastle in and of itself was creepy. There are some good set pieces with the crypt, the mad scientist room, the fortune teller, and the torture chamber. But I never felt the gang were in any danger because it's more fun and funny focused than spooky focused that we got with the Green Ghost episode or the Space Kook episode. So I felt this was just kind of too funny and not spooky enough. The vampire was well done. And I think they should have just had him as the main villain and just scrapped the werewolf and Frankenstein's monster and maybe just kept the gypsy persona. Frankenstein's monster has some good scenes, of course, but that could have been done with the vampire. And the vampire talked, which I liked, and the werewolf and Frankenstein monster just kind of growled. And we do see the werewolf 3 times, and it makes for some good atmosphere, but the gang only run into the werewolf once. So I just think, in hindsight, make this a vampire episode, focus more on the chills and the vampire lore, and you would have had probably a stronger episode that I would have enjoyed. But still, this just made for some good Saturday morning cartoon fun, so I can't complain. There's also some good diversity with this episode in that Scooby and Shaggy, they plan a trap, which, is a first. And we also get some regular tropes like Daphne being her danger-prone self and getting caught in a trap, and Velma losing her glasses. I have 4 more episodes to review for Scooby Doo, Where Are You? Then I'll probably take a break during the holiday season. When I come back, I will probably do my ranking of all the Scooby Doo, Where Are You? Season 1 episodes. And I'll do my ranking, plus I'll try and work in Scooby Doo fan favorites through online reviews that other people have done. Plus I'll do probably look at what episodes got the most views and most likes of mine and kind of work that in as well. It won't be exactly fair because I've done episodes a year ago, which will obviously get more views and likes. So I'll kind of work that into the equation though. So if there is an episode you liked, make sure you like that episode and to represent it for my reviews, and I'll work that in. Next week we'll be covering Scooby Doo and a Mummy 2. Until then, stay spooky.
Go! This is your last warning.
Now go!
Now your spirits will dwell here in this house forever.